Because I gave her that money. I got it. It says Carroll Continues Department. Thank you.
Did you give Sheila? Did you give Sheila my
You're
telephone
such a
number
sweet
yet?
person.
Ma'am?
Did you give Sheila my telephone number yet?
Do what?
Sheila.
She.
Yeah. Isn't that what you said her name was? I don't
Yeah.
consider. Did you
I
give-
thought she was gonna do it.
I don't know Sheila.
Let me
Hey,
see.
diabetic man, what are you doing with 15 boxes of cookies over there?
To Riley.
Oh, hey, I put them on your door. The guy came by.
He told you to give me Sheila's number and you
No,
don't even know her?
no, but I'm gonna tell you, I did talk to this lady that lives behind the lab. Her name's Ann, and her cousin or brother's cousin or something. They have within 20 miles. I don't know where it is. He's got one of them. He has a farm that he boards dogs and cats while people go on vacation. But he has a fencing yard and he just lets the dogs play. You know,
What happened to the night?
he has kennels, but they spend the day outside.
Oh, see.
I just thought it was an option. so they
Yeah, I
could be
mean,
there.
well, we've got a lady down in Savannah that first comes to work. See, I'd rather that you're so used to being in the house. It's like Buddy goes outside to eat, and Elizabeth's out there playing, and he's right back in the house. Coco is like really outside. So we also could, be there. There's some companionships because there's things to them. Because he is so you can see it's in there, I see in the mirror. I know, that just.
This apparently is a structure that's been there for some time, that apparently was being used for some kind of repair. I want to say furniture repair operation, but couldn't have Rick on him to install. He went back and he said he's been there for some time. I'm assuming that he, I give him information that you give me.
I saw him. Bob.
I'll, he'll be in.
Of course he's not. Yeah. He wants to be on the other conversation. He doesn't know who they are.
Yes.
It is time.
It is time, Mr. Bracknell says it's time. We got a quorum. This is a special called meeting for 2 items on the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the published agenda here? Motion, Mr. Longwell, second by Mr. Walker. Discussion. Signify by saying aye. Item number 1, to approve mayor's appointment of a new certified police officer to fill a vacant position in the police department. And to, along with this, comes a reimbursement to the city of Carrollton for $5,500 to cover his mandate cost. Mr. Austin, council, Mr. Salazar.
Yes, sir. We have 2 vacant positions for patrol officer at this time, and Danny Lee Salazar is a candidate to fill one of those. I gave you a memo that is in your book that he is in his late 30s and decided to go into law enforcement, worked for the Carroll County Sheriff's Department in the jail, went to the North Central Georgia Law Enforcement Academy, mandate school, got his certification, and had worked for a few months for the city of Carrollton Police Department, and decided that that's not where he felt comfortable. He resigned. He is an applicant for the job that we have here, and I've given you some background information on him. As the mayor said, the city of Carrollton sent him to mandate school, which happens, of course, from time to time with departments, with people that they want to have as police officers that are not certified, take them to mandate school, and in return they look at being with the department for a period of time to pay back that cost in a sense through service. The city of Carrollton has agreed that they would release the rest of the indebtedness that Mr. Salazar has. We paid the city of Carrollton $5,500. If we were sending somebody to mandate school, it would probably be just about 3 times that. Chief, if you want to have Mr. Salazar come up, any questions that anybody has of him, or any comments that directed to myself or the chief or Mr. Salazar. So, Mr. Mayor, that's my report to you, and this is Salazar and Chief Lee.
Leave the mayor.
Chief, tell the council about Mr. Salazar here and the languages that he speaks.
Well, he pretty much broke it down to you right here when he was giving that little reading that spiel. But Mr. Salazar has been interested in the department for several months now. We got to know about Temple by our relationship with him working in the county as a jailer. So all the officers at the department are real familiar with it as well. But we got good feedback. We went and spoke to Carrollton officials. I spoke to the chief myself personally and the captain, and didn't have anything bad to say about him other than that he resigned because it was cut out for him in Carrollton. He had other little things in his FTO file, but nothing to do with his employment, as in different things they would check you on his own FTO program. In other words, if you're on the FTO program and you didn't ride a person for running a stop sign, they might document that. He didn't watch the man run a stop sign, he didn't give him a ticket, they might document. He didn't put his name tag on right. Any little thing is just to get you to follow the guidelines. But anyway, nevertheless, he did make it off pretty much, but he just decided he didn't want to work with.
Thank you, and he is my appointment for this position. I hear a motion to approve it.
We ask just general questions.
Certainly that, I think the first thing would be general questions that the mayor is alive with the mayor.
I mean, if you say it's legal, there's nothing, here to hide. He's been interviewed by the police department and Mr. Osborne, and I said him on that, no questions, and he is my appointment, and
Sure. And if it's all right with you to open up the general questions, sure. I guess I'll need to know the nature of the questions. We'll kind of go from there and make sure it's not too personal.
see, you might need to know the nature of the questions, because one time before, there were some questions asked females that Mr. Crawford, said could get us in some trouble. So, by saying, I don't know the answer to the questions either, but the way that Carter set this interview up is we asked every applicant the same question. So he's been asked the same questions that every other applicant asked.
And that's the way you normally do it. So I guess in terms of, we'll go back, I don't know what the questions are, but if it's the pleasure of the mayor and you want to let them answer questions, that's fine.
Well, maybe you better let Mr. Walden ask you the question, you see if it's all right, and if it is, ask it.
Well, I can just make a couple of comments from council.
Okay, let's talk about that just a minute. If there were going to be comments to the council, I guess the question comes from a parliamentary standpoint. That is, do you want to have a motion and second as to what your action needs to be before you ask questions, or do you want to ask questions
Got no friend?
before you have a motion and second?
And later, he can call for a motion.
Then again, if we want to follow procedure before we get into the discussion of whatever it may be with you and other council members, then you would need a motion and a second to appoint him to the position. And then have the discussion. And I'm sorry, Mr. Simmons, let me kind of, do you mind if I?
Yes, sir, go ahead. Mr. Simmons, we're on item number 1, sir.
And in connection with item number 1, some background information was provided about Mr. Salazar by the chief. And then Mr. Mr. Walden had indicated that he might have a question or a comment, and then there became an issue of how we handle that, not knowing what the question was. And so the decision, I think, where we are now is the mayor and Mr. Osborne have interviewed him, and the recommendation is that he be appointed to the position, and there would need to be a motion and second to appoint him. After that motion and second is made, and before a vote, Mr. Walden wanted to have a discussion. And so we decided before that discussion occurred that we would need a motion and a second as to whether you desire to take it to that step by having the discussion. That's where we go.
Now, so we have to make a decision on whether we're going to have the discussion before we approve the point.
Yes, sir.
So, has a motion been made?
No,
You
sir.
have the discussion?
No, sir.
I just stated that this is my appointment for the position that we have taken. Now, do I hear a motion that we approve it? One to object.
I want to know what is this discussion? Whether you want, whether you,
You have to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that Mr. Walden be able to have a discussion.
Got a motion, here a second?
It's not on the agenda.
I'll second.
Not on the
Got a second,
agenda.
Mr. Rockwell, any discussion now?
Yes.
Well, before we get to that, we need a vote on the motion, and a motion and second to allow the discussion, so y'all need to vote.
It's received the motion. It's just for the discussion.
Correct. The motion is to allow the discussion from Mr. Walden about the appointment.
Yeah.
Okay,
And you need to vote on that motion.
okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, that's carried. Ms. Moore.
Okay. Ms. Appleton, I don't feel like we were given all of the pertinent information in order for us to make an informed decision. I've done some of my own research. I've viewed the file. I've talked with Human Resources in Carrollton. I've discovered some things. I've talked to some other people as far as lieutenants or captains. Mr. McCray tells me that I can't discuss that, but I can pass out one item. This is from, I can pass it out, right?
Yes, sir. The item that Mr. Walden talked to me about before we started is from Mr. Salazar's personnel file, and it is an open record. And you need to go to Mr. Salazar too, please.
Can I get one from mine?
Sure. Okay, let me let you keep that, let y'all look on, that's all.
And there are other things pertaining to this that Mr. McCray tells me I can't discuss in an open meeting, that we would have to have an executive session in order to discuss the conversations that I had with the captains or sergeants.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for Mr. Osborne, if I may. Mr. Osborne, the concern that I have here with this repayment, reimbursement to the city of Carrollton. Now, you've got something attached here, this Temple Police Department employee reimbursement agreement. So has Mr. Salazar agreed to pay us back after what we paid the city of Carrollton?
What that agreement would provide is that if Mr. Salazar were to be employed here, if he left employment here earlier than whatever time we would expect him to be employed here, that he would have to pay back all or part of that, depending on how long he served.
That's what the agreement is, he signed.
Basically, the saying that he's, in other words, he's committing, and I'm sure he has the same agreement in Carrollton, that if you leave before, and without having served for a particular length of time, the department is looking at being reimbursed a portion of the cost of spending your mandate school.
So this same agreement would have already been signed in the city of Carrollton.
There would have been some type of agreement, and the chief can answer that better than I, but I know that when the chief had talked with the Carrollton police chief in terms of what their expectation was on repayment by Mr. Salazar, that we ended up, put a letter in your packet, that the city of Carrollton said that they would consider Mr. Salazar to have settled everything up with them on the payment of $5,500. Yes, sir.
So this $5,500 would be billed to whomever is applicant.
I'm sorry.
So this $5,500 would be whoever employed, not just us, but anybody.
No, well, the $5,500 in this particular case, if we have the letter that you got a copy of from their HR department, was saying that the city of Carrollton would consider the obligation that Mr. Salazar has to them to have been handled totally upon receipt of $5,500 in this case from the city of Carrollton.
Okay, but anywhere the applicant applied for a job would have to pay that $5,500.
I can't tell you that. That was as to whether Carrollton would put that same amount with, say, if city X or county Y, after we're talking to them.
You want me to explain it to him? You don't understand, Mr. Brackman?
I really am lost.
Okay, I don't
understand where
explain to you what happens.
Would we do the same thing with an officer and expect him to be paid?
No. What happens is, since he was mandated, they sent him to school to be mandated. That's a fee. That's a fee you have to pay the school. You have to pay him a salary. They have to buy equipment and all this stuff and go ahead and send him off. So now that he graduates, he comes to that department. They have him to sign that contract that y'all have, stating that he has to stay with them 2 years, or if he leave before that 2-year contract, he would have to reimburse them on some of that cost. And at the time, his cost was much more than $5,500. I kept talking with them, resourcing the chief, and I got it down and down and down until I got it at 55. That includes his vest and all that. And just bought him a brand new vest too and had him fitted. So that's what that cost is. And what Mr. Osborne was telling you is, it would cost us to hire a regular officer that's mandated enough to know it wouldn't. But if we send somebody to mandate school, which is we're at that point right now, we're going to end up having to pay him a salary to go to school. Plus, we're going to have to buy all the equipment and pay the school for him to go. Then it can total out more than $5,500. So in other words, we getting the best. We got a man that's already mandated. We got, he's already certified, and the only thing we pay is that off. So now that he comes with us, we have a contract written up with him for him to pay us that $5,500 that we pay Carrollton. If we pay Carrollton, if he leaves us within 2 years, he's subject to pay that amount.
Okay, any more questions?
I'm wondering, you said, you talk like, we discussed something, we have to go into executive session. You have what you said about something about his employment, if we discuss something about his past employment, we have to go into executive session?
Yes, sir.
Can we ask him, gentlemen? more questions since we're in discussion, or we can't ask any questions?
No, I kind of want to go back to something the mayor said earlier. In the application and interview process, which was set up by Carter Carver, which is the best way to do it, is you ask everybody the same questions, so everybody's on the same page. He would have answered those questions, and now he's here for your approval. If there's issues associated with that, other than what you just passed out, which is the open record matter that you obtain, any further discussion like that's got to be done in executive session. If you were going back to part 2 of the mayor's statement, if you were going to say, we want to ask Mr. Salazar other questions, now you didn't ask the other applicants that, so you cannot do that now. Does that make sense?
It's clear.
Any more questions? Again, this is my appointment to fill this vacant police officer position. I'm appointing Officer Danny Salazar to this position. Do I hear a motion to approve this?
I don't know the difference.
I hear a motion to disapprove this.
Motion to disapprove.
A motion, Mr. Walden, disapprove this. Here a second. Do I hear a second?
I say.
Got a second from Mr. Rockwell now. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Okay, that's carried. Thank you, sir. Item number 2, adopt a resolution providing an increase of $2 hourly raise for High City employees in the public works department. Mr. Osborne.
Yes, sir. Basically, the resolution was just so that we could provide you with a little explanation. You do have a memo there, you know, with our position of in our public works technician position. This is an entry level. It's the lowest paid position we have in the city, $11 an hour for people that we have out working in all kinds of weather. And what we're asking here is that for anyone in this position that when they start, of course, they start as a probationary employee. If they successfully complete that probationary period to gain regular employment status, would like to be able at that point to increase their salary from $11 an hour to $13 an hour, which would both give an incentive for people to come to work for us even at 11, knowing that if they successfully complete their probationary period, they would be able to become a regular full-time employee with a salary increase. Otherwise, frankly, I'm afraid that one or two of the 3 people we have in this position may be not with us that much longer because of opportunities elsewhere. Be glad to respond to questions.
Mr. Brennan.
Okay, I don't know what we're being asked to do here. Is this, how many people are getting a $2 across the board raise? Is it everybody in the public works?
No, there are 3 positions that we're talking about. Those 3 positions are filled at this time. This is called a public works technician. We have 2 of those individuals that have been with us, one now for 7 months and one in a week will be here 6 months. And what this would do is after somebody has been here for the 6 months and if they were evaluated to have performed such that they would be retained by the city rather than being terminated at the end of that probationary period, that they then would receive a $2 increase. So we're talking about one person that would get a $2 increase now, a second one that, assuming that his evaluation is what I would anticipate based on his performance that he would get that. And we've got another person in that position who's just been with us a couple of weeks, so he would not be eligible for this for another almost 6 months.
Okay, follow-up question, I wasn't finished.
Sir.
All right, we went through and did this with the police department during the budgetary process, and we're only 3 months into this budget, and we're doing this. Wouldn't this have been, I mean, is this an employee that's going to have money coming out of the water department? Or would this come out, where is this going to be budgeted? Is it going to be budgeted in public works, or is it going to be budgeted through the water department?
We have a public works department budget and also, as you know, a water and sewer fund. And in terms of these positions, I believe that 2 of these positions are paid in public works and 1 in water and sewer. In any case, we're not asking you to increase the amount of the approved budget. We would simply be looking at making a transfer between a couple of line items if we would need to do that. Now, we may not even need to do that, or certainly would not need for a while, because we had a vacancy in one of those positions for several weeks after the fellow resigned right at the first of the year. So we had a couple of months where we did not use the salary and fringes for a 3rd position.
All right, because I got a list of questions, so
Yes, sir.
before we relinquish the floor.
You'll be
All right,
next, Mr. President.
so what we're doing is, are we changing the base salary on the salary scale that we have in place? This is what this would actually be doing. It would be moving that base salary from $11 to $13.
No, sir. It would be saying that that's still $11 starting, but if you successfully complete your probation, then you would get a $2 an hour salary increase. This would have the effect of you moving up on the pay scale that we have now, probably to step 3 or 4.
Don't you already have the authority under that particular piece of that ordinance? If you feel like a satisfactory evaluation has been given, you have already that power to move that. If it's an exemplary evaluation, to do that, to move on that step. You know, you follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir, but would say that my understanding is that what you have done historically, what we did last year and looking at this year, is that in the budget you approved up to a 4.5% increase. 1.5% of that this year increase is on the anniversary date of the employee, and that's a cost of living.
Right.
Then there's a maximum of 3% merit increase. The
So it's
maximum
4.5 and
guide-
not 5%, right?
Yes,
Because 5%, this person would automatically at the beginning of the year, got a cost of living raise, right?
well, on the anniversary, we get a 1.5% cost of living raise.
Plus, and then at the next, so he would only get 1.5, or she would only get 1.5%. All right.
In terms of cost of living.
Okay. Coming back and doing this in the middle of the year creates a bumpy road for all of us. Number one, we're in the middle of trying our best. I haven't heard any discussion. I've gotten some memos. I haven't heard any discussion about getting the water rates under control, finding out what's going on with these water rates. I was told January 1st we will have a personnel handbook, that we would be working on this handbook. It is now almost April the 1st. I have gotten a copy of a handbook. I have not been given any direction about how to develop that handbook, but we're having these employees who's coming to us every time we turn around. And I want us to stop it and to go back and do what we made a commitment to do, and that is to clean up some of this stuff and fix some of this stuff. I mean, it's just, it's constant. I mean, this is how many now? This is how many now? And I'm sure that, you know, we've been asked to deal with these salaries. And I know what's going to happen. You may not think so, but I know there are people sitting in this room right now that's going to go back out here the minute we give a $2 raise, and they're going to start saying, yeah, you can give a $2 raise, but you can't fix my water bill. That's what we're up against. If we can keep our horse and our cart in order, and we can follow through and get some of these things. I mean, I don't understand why it's taken 4 months. 4 months. I don't have any idea where we are with the water bill. I don't have any idea where we are with the handbook. And I don't know why I was called in on Tuesday night to do something that could have been done next Monday night. That's it. That's it in a nutshell.
Respond to that, Mr. Osborne?
Insofar as why we had asked the mayor to call the meeting tonight, was not related so much to this particular item as it was for the previous item, because Mr. Salazar thought we might take another job this week if we did not make a decision. We do have one employee, as I mentioned, that is looking at the possibility of a job elsewhere and has an interview later this week. Now, whether or not he will take that job, regardless of action you take, I don't think I can tell you. But in both cases, there was a feeling that in order to try to have those employees or the individuals available for you to make that decision, ask the mayor to go ahead and call the meeting.
But we had discussed at regular council meeting about taking a look at our salary scale and making sure our salary scale needed to be adjusted. I will be quoted wrong, I know, but I think that discussion took place either in November or December, that we were going to have a comparative analysis of what we're paying our employees as compared to what other municipalities our size is paying our employees. I thought that was something that we were going to have while we were dealing with the handbook. And I mean, I really thought all of this was going to be addressed, and it would have taken care of every bit of this. I don't know why it snapped. And I don't know, I mean, is it cost prohibitive? Or can you do, I don't want to say the way I did things 10 years ago, but 10 years ago, I went in on the website that had a comparative analysis. You put in how much, you put in the size of the city, the population, and it tells you what every city that size is paying every one of their employees. And I thought that, I mean, do we need to do that as councilmen? Do we need to go in and say, this is the handbook I want to put on the agenda to be read? Is this the salary scale I want us to look at? Is this, tell me, I will do the work if it's me that's supposed to do it, because I've been listening to it for 4 months. That's my whole comment. And I've expressed this frustration, and now I think it's time that my colleagues hear my frustrations. And to know that we got to move this city forward, and we got to have a plan, and we got to work that plan.
Mr. Rockwell.
I have a couple comments.
Yes, ma'am. I said it, and I believe it.
That's right.
Seems to me Mr. Rockwell has a vote.
I have a couple comments as well. These people took these positions. They knew what the pay scale was when they took it. I mean, this is no different than in the private sector. If I'm working somewhere making $10 an hour and I get a job offer down the road for $12 an hour, I'm all about people bettering themselves or going on somewhere else. I recently received an email from Bremen, the city of Bremen was soliciting a job that was very similar to this, and the starting salary was $12 an hour. Basically the same job requirements. So I would say $11, $12, you know, it's about the same thing. But we're talking about people who have been here 7 months, 6 months, and 2 months. And I'd rather take care of the people that have been here for 2 years with their pay. You know, we already had some issues with their pay, and I just feel like we need to take care of the ones that have put in the time with us. It's the same thing. They signed up, they took a job, they agreed to a certain amount of pay. But now all of a sudden, it's like we're going back and everybody's wanting a pay raise now. It's $2 an hour. Before I could get on board with this, I'd rather take care of the people that we have here, right here in City Hall, as opposed to these people that have been here 7, 6, and 5 months, even though they've made it past their probationary period. But if we lived under the constant threat of, well, if you don't pay me, I'm going to get another job, then bye-bye. Because people are applying for jobs still. I mean, you know, it's an $11 an hour job. So if they're willing to work for $11 an hour, based on what our handbook says, that after a year they're going to get a 4.5%, or they could potentially earn a 4.5% increase. Then they'll wait that year to get it. They weren't expecting anything when they came in, unless they were told otherwise. So I think we don't need to make any changes here, but if we want to make some changes, it starts with the people that already work here and have been working here. That's my 2 cents.
Any more discussion on item number 2? Yes, sir.
Question. Yes, sir. Any increase in salary on that? You said there was one that was charged to the water.
I think that was right.
Okay, so any increase in salary, any more expenditures coming out of the water is going to just pull down our debt ratio on our bond, correct?
Well, I did not, I did say a while ago that we were not looking at increasing the amount of the budget. So if you had decided, if you did decide to approve this, we would be looking at transfer within the department. So as opposed to increasing the budget itself, and without increasing the budget itself, it would not have any effect on the ratio.
We've approved a lot of increase in pay this year, and before I would do any more, I would like to see the first quarter of the budget comparisons to see where we stand. I don't know where we stand the first 3 months.
Which one compared to last year?
Yeah. Because
I'm sorry. I've already asked.
I realize all the police pay was in the budget, but still that's a huge increase this year over last year.
Did that during the budget process. We had a department, we had a department head that brought it to us, and I would assume that department head would have had the same opportunity to say, hey, my people aren't making enough money, and have brought it to us in the budget process. That's what we expect our department heads to do, to come in and bring it in and say, look, you know, we can't keep these, we don't adjust this. You know, this town, and this town that's our size is paying this amount of money.
Well, that's what the police department
That's exactly what they did.
did, and Mr. Osborne.
The only comment I'd make is that when we were going through the budget process, the expectation, at least I had at that time, is that the city of Villa Rica had planned to do a pay and classification study. And I had reported to you that of us looking at tying in with them so that we would have a comprehensive look taken to do just what you're talking about, Mr. Bracknell. And of course, with the change of mayor there, as they worked on their budget, they deleted that from their budget. So we were not in a position of tying in with them. It doesn't say that we can't do something ourselves.
The database is there. All you gotta do is just go to the database. GMA would be able to give us everything that we need to be able to do it. And there might be somebody there that would even be willing to do it. It's just a comparative analysis of salaries for, cities our size. And it's there for the purpose of making sure that, you have a guideline that is based on data that's turned in, on employment data. It's not fake news. It's based on actual what they're reporting, paying their employees. And it would give us, I have heard that people in the administrative department is sitting there saying about whether their salaries are in line with what they should be making. And my question is that they would have every right, if we make this decision for Public Works, they got every right to come in and say, look, adjust mine. And then, the rec department's got every right to come in and say, adjust ours, and then, of course, the senior center could come in and say, adjust mine. If we had it out in front of us, so we looked at all of them, it would be a lot easier. And I think it would be fair to our employees to make sure that every employee is getting what would be considered fair wages.
Mr. Simmons.
We already have one person, yes, at all, complaining about not getting a raise, talking about quitting. So that's going around pretty rampant among most of our employees.
Well, okay. Do we want to do a motion on this, or approve it, reject it, or what do y'all want to do? Okay, I know how to fix this. Do I hear a motion we approve this? Hear a motion we disapprove this?
Will it die? It'll just die to lack of motion.
Yes, it will. One way or another, it's going to
Well,
die.
I think we should have a study. The comprehensive study, and see just where we are and where we can go.
A study says fine, but this on the agenda is adopt a resolution, and that's what we're trying to.
And we don't have a motion.
No, we don't have a motion, and we don't have one either way, so I assume that this item is died here. Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
I make a motion we adjourn.
Your second? Second, Mr. Wallen, all in favor, signify by saying aye. That's carried.
We adjourned. I
We
can
are-
answer Sandra and tell her our meeting is at 6, right?
Yeah,
All right.
we are adjourned and on the way, Mr. Brackett.
All right.
Getting things done, but yet he doesn't do anything right there. But then he's got the votes.
I don't care what you say. Shut it off.
Oh, well,
Shut it.
I know you don't care what I
I
say.
don't
You don't care what the
you
charter
say.
says
I don't
either.
care what you say.
I know, because you don't like
I
the
don't care
truth.
what you say.
You don't like the truth. Is that when you
threaten me.
I'm not threatening. I'm just holding up this. I'm just holding
I'm
this
just
up.
showing the quorum, sir.
Ma'am.
Just keep your little
I said I
debate
don't
tactics
care.
going, because you just repeat yourself, repeat yourself.
Maybe you'll eventually.
Because you won't answer a question. You will not
Never.
face the truth.
Maybe you'll eventually.
Are y'all just gonna take your quorum outside?
Yeah, they're gonna take there they go. They're taking their quorum outside.
Stop.
Outside, there it goes. Here goes the discussion.
Did you call her? Did you?
evaluation to get to